Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you how to make satin rendering with marker technique. First, before you start the project, you need to take out all the excess with the soft eraser. Then I'm making a layer of skin with Pro Marker series in ivory color. But I'm also trying to place, because it's going to be a trial, because ivory is going to be very smooth colors, I'm just practicing it about my shadows. And it's very important that when you start to make the skin color, you have to make it all around. When you double it, you are going to see that it's going to create a very soft type of shadow, like you can see in the knee. Then I'm deepening the effect. So in skin rendering, you have to make it layer by layer. And for example, for the boobs, never just scratch it, just make it with shadows, and you are going to like the consequences. And highlight the bones always. And trying your colors before you hit on the paper is another important thing. Here now I'm using a brush tip shadow for my skin. It's always good to keep something like that in your cupboard. And you need to make it with long strokes to get a more graphical effect. I made it darker because it is without any sun reflecting there. I know that it is a little bit darker. So I'm placing it, I'm deepening the effect, and you can adjust as you like it. When you deepen the shadows, you have to deepen the whole shadow. And always try it. Now I'm going to use a very blonde hair, so I'm starting with another brush, but I'm always leaving the white spots, as you can see. And if there is any jewelry like the earrings you can see there, you have to be sure that you don't go in between it. Make it completely white. And here now I'm using a very nicely sharpened pencil to make the smoky eyes and to do the features. As you can see, everything gets much more higher now. And because I'm using a little bit of high textured paper, I'm using my marker to burn the color into the paper. And I'm smoothing it, because otherwise I can see the texture. I don't want it. I want a clean and nicely blended one. And I'm applying all over the same colors, because otherwise the head will be looking completely different than the legs, and we don't want it. I'm generally preferring something like different shades of brown when I'm using for skin rendering. Like this is a little bit of a reddish brown, so that it gets more suntan effect. But if it's a colder brown, they have a different effect. So you have to check before you start a project. And I'm blending. So first I made the basic skin. Now for the garment, I choose my color, and I'm thinking about my shadow as well. Here what I aim is to have a thick satin gown, but inside I'm going to use a different trick. So you have to plan the bright spots first. It will be much better if you draw it like what I did. I made a rehearsal in my transparent copy that I planned the whole garment, and I see that yeah, it's working, so I started. Because satin is very shiny material, but again, according to the quality and according to the thickness, satin may change some reflection habits as well. But along the bones, along the garment, you should be leaving the white spots if you want to have anything shiny. But satin is, even the thickest one is not that thick like leather. So you have to be careful about your drapes. Your drapes define about the fabric itself. And when you go a second time, you can get a very soft type of shadow. Here I decide to make some ornament there, so I'm very careful when I go around. And I'm placing my folds, but as you can see, I'm using the widest part of the pen, generally speaking, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to make it smooth. You have to work fast, and the big tip is the best way. But make it part by part as I do it. And as you can see, I'm changing the direction of the pen so that it's not going to make any marks there, because otherwise it cannot blend, especially if you are using a multi-purpose paper like I do. Like in total marker pad, it's burning much more better and blending better. But I can say that okay, it's an accelerated video, but still I'm making it fast. And look at the way I do it. I'm not doing just on horizontal or vertical. I'm making it according to the drape of it. And even though if your lining is the same color, generally speaking, because it is at the back, it's going to look darker. Here I want to use something extra dark so that I can make it more three-dimensional. Here, this is a trick. I take blender, and on my transparent ruler I place some color, and then I'm taking with the blender and I'm putting only the spots that I want a good blend. Blenders are not working like water. You have to be careful about it, but you can get very nice effects with them. You need to play with them. So now I decide to sharpen the effects, and I'm again burning the pencil with the marker to get a smoother effect, because otherwise it can be pointy, which is not preferable in a small detailed garment like this. I'm working on A4 size, and I have to be careful about my details. I'm doing it step by step, layer by layer. And using your 0.5 pencil is always a good highlight. I take from my blender and I put the color for her violet eyes, as you see. Now, if you want to make satin or any garment that is going to be shiny, you need to be sure that you have big contrast between light and dark. So you need to get light, medium, and darkest effect, so that it's going to get much more deeper looking and nicer looking. So I'm adding some pencil, colored pencil, but I have to be careful about one thing. I need to burn that pencil in a very good way. Otherwise, if I have dot type of looking in my paper, we don't want that. It's not going to look like satin. Satin is smooth, so the surface you are trying to do should be looking smooth. But yes, sometimes you can make some additional effects with white pencil, because I'm thinking about making something like a semi-matte type of satin, which is very thick, and I'm burning it. I'm placing it so that it's understandable. That's why my drapes are heavy, but they are according to the direction of the body. With your body movements, the drapes becoming one. And of course, about the design, you are placing sometimes folds, sometimes some direction. The outline of the garment is very important. I should not be seeing just the lines there, but a blended one, so that it's going to be realistic. So I'm burning, I'm applying one more color, and then it's going to look much more shinier. And around the, like if I have a hand on top of my garment, please be sure that it's going to cast a shadow. So make it. This is not a two-dimensional thing we are talking about. Try to feel it, like this girl is wearing and she's walking, so there should be some things to be in front, some things to be at the back. And more detail. So what you do, you make a good base, then you start doing with layering. And when you apply shadows, you need to readjust the whole shadows, generally speaking. And now it is time for delicate work with art liner. I'm using a 0.1 art liner, and I'm aiming to have some Swarovski type of very small detailed shoe, so that I made it with point by point. And I'm accelerating the shadows a little bit. Now I'm putting it. If you do put only the marker, it doesn't show that good. And I'm readjusting. Now it's time for the eyeliners. Don't do it all over. Generally, this is looking much more better this way. And be sure that especially around the breast area, you have to be careful about making shadows. Here I'm planning to put some extra additional lace type of head ornament, so that I can show you more about how to place a net and a lace. So I'm making crisscrossing, and then you have to make the design of the lace. It can be a modern lace, it can be, this is something like semi-modern. It's not just roses and roses, but you have to place these details. And when I put like these, you can see that it makes three-dimensional, because I'm thinking about putting some embroidery. And I'm working more about the ornaments. Now it looks a little bit of three-dimensional heavy lace that's covering one eye. I'm adding some little bit of white paper, white pen, so that it's going to make it even more three-dimensional. And now I put a little bit extra yellow, and everything is getting much more better this way. And I have to be sure that I'm making it a soft thing. I put it for the head, so it should be casting some drapes. And now it's time for the details. You have to work, but you don't need to cover it all up. Now I'm putting some Swarovski, so that like when the light is coming, that part will be glitter more than the rest. And here is the result.